Today I was thinking about some stuff and really just stressing out about a variety of things going on in my life, where it's headed, um, whether I want to stay at the job I'm at, just tons of things like that, friendship stuff, the usual. And I was really bugged about when God would give me an answer to some of this stuff. And it's kind of ridiculous because He gives me answers all the time. Sometimes I like them, sometimes I don't, but He does. And you'd think by now I'd understand what it means to be patient and waiting on the Lord. But I don't. You know, patience is something so tough because it's something we naturally just don't do well because it involves giving up control. Um, Realizing that I can't control God's plan. I can't control my relationships. I can't control anything. I can't control the progression of my life. Um, I can't even control my emotions, They're they just happen. Emotions just happen. They're founded on something usually, but they still are something uncontrollable. The only thing controllable is the response to them. But that's so tough when you've got such strong emotions and a desire for something, but you're not being given an answer yet. And you're thrown up in the air in confusion, wondering, God, when? When will I find out? What is your purpose in this? What do you desire from me? And it's tough with people, Um, situations like jobs and cars, they're tough. Um, Being patient for God's answers in those or provisions in those. Um, but with people, it's a whole nother thing. Because at least for me, uh, people in general just hold such a higher place in my life and in my heart than any material thing ever would. Like I just care about people so much. Um, so when you're just confused about something, um, it's difficult for me specifically with when I'm confused about friends in my life and things like that and where God's leading that, what type of people He wants me to be investing time in, what type of friends I should be spending time with, what type of friends that I have now that I shouldn't be spending time with, and that's so tough because part of me doesn't want to let go of any of those friendships, and part of me doesn't want, uh, and part of me just really wants to have strong, intimate friendships and relationships with people around me, and that it just I can't expect that to be reciprocated. That's me wanting to control the relationship, the friendship, whatever it is. Friendships are relationships, so. Um, but yeah, so it's me wanting to control that, and so in turn, when these things take time to develop or to be these answers to come, I get frustrated. I get impatient, so impatient, and it burns me. Like it just burns inside of me because I'm like, I want this now. Like I want this solved now. But that's not how God works. Like He can work that way. Don't get me wrong. You read Old Testament, New Testament. You see the apostolic fathers. You see Christians throughout history. Um, there's such a wide span of God answering quickly and God answering over a long period of time. Um, it's not really delayed gratification, because that might be something you're thinking, but it's more like it's an answer that has so much depth and complexity to it. It's not simply a yes or a no, because God almost never gives us something so simple as that. It's not profound enough. God's too good and too awesome to give us such a simple answer. And that bugs me, because I'm just like, God, just give me a yes or a no, like take this away from me, or encourage it in my life. But that's not how he works, because he knows that when we grow through deeper, complex understandings of things that develop over time and work and energy. And so a lot of his answers, I'm starting to realize, come over extended periods of time. They develop, and you may start to think one thing or another, and then sure enough, this relationship or money or something comes into your life, or an aspect of it changes in your life, or something shifts in your life that further develops the answer to that question, that prayer. But man, that's so hard. Like, I'm so impatient when it comes to things like that. Yeah, just looking at, friends who are going through difficult stuff, or are walking away from their relationship with the Lord, or are processing things, but aren't, committing to any big changes in their life when they should be, or anything like that. It's so hard to watch them not just get it, and I realize that I have that same feeling about myself too, that I get so frustrated watching myself not get it. Because a lot of the times, I've been a Christian most of my life, and if not all of my significantly rational life, if that makes any sense, since I was like 4 or 5. But a lot of truth is already here. Like, I already have it. A lot of you can probably resonate with this. That you get it on a knowledge level. But when it comes to grasping it or understanding it, experiencing it, if anything else, experience, like something like God's grace. It's one of the first things we learn about as a Christian, is God's grace in sending His Son to die on the cross for us. But I find every couple of months I'll have this deeper experience of it, which just reminds me how much I get it, I understand it, it's processed, but I haven't fully experienced what it means to completely, exhaustively understand it. And I'm realizing that it's the same thing with those relationships, those people in your life that you're looking for those answers with, if it's someone of the opposite sex, like where's my line supposed to be? Where do you want me in this, God? Like, what kind of boundaries should I be drawing? What kind of interactions should we be having? Is this someone you desire me to pursue? Just throughout my life, like it just kills me when I get these things. But even when I get answers, or like a piece of an answer, I find, years down the road, I'll look back and I'll be like, wow, I so did not get this aspect of it. Or maybe I got it, but I didn't get it. Like, it didn't connect with me. It didn't connect in my heart, in my soul, where these things process and affect the core of me, which in turn affects my emotions and my feelings towards things. And that's where really conflicts of emotion and thought really, at least it seems to me, find their root, is when you get something up here, you get it knowledge wise, you've learned it, you've been taught it, whatever, but somehow your soul, something in the core of you, hasn't quite processed it or understood it. And I think that that's the thing that causes so much like turmoil when you have confused emotions. Like, say, you like someone, or you're attracted to someone or something, just a random example, but you're just like, what? Like, I can't even think of a reason why I'd be attracted to that person. Like, I don't even know why. But something at the core of you finds that attractive. Whether it's flesh, or whether it's heart or soul, something down in the root of what it means to be you says that. And yeah, that's just a simple example, but I feel like it's not the mental part that takes so long to process and learn, but it's the core, that's heart, soul, understanding of something that does. And so that's why we'll have turmoil about something. We're struggling with a sin or something in our lives. Like, I'm struggling with sin in my life, and I'm just looking around, and I'm just like, God, I know, why do I keep doing this? And it's because something down at the core of me still doesn't understand, in the way that it's supposed to, what my brain already understands about it. Because they're two very different things. Your heart, what we call our heart, obviously not the beating thing inside of us, but what I'm going to use is the term heart, or the core of us. It doesn't interpret things, and it doesn't learn things the way our mind does. It just doesn't. It's not the same thing. For one, our mind, although rooted in the brain, it is something bigger than just the brain. It's interesting to think about, but anyways, like, they're just two totally different faculties. One expresses rationale and knowledge and calculation, things like that, whereas the other evokes emotion and passion and desire. And it's very similar to something Plato discusses as the tripartite soul, which I find very plausible within the Christian life. But for the sake of this, I'm not going to go much into that. But if you know Plato, and you know what I'm talking about, or you're interested in Plato, he talks a lot about this connection between the two, and why that is our internal conflict, and why rationale, like, controls our appetitive side. And yeah, anyways. Yeah, and it's so frustrating for me that something can so bug me, yet I know that I can't have control over it. I'm sitting here, like, for like an hour and a half, just something really stirring and affecting me deep down in the core, hurting, like painful emotions and convictions about something. But mentally, I know I can't do anything about that. Like, there's nothing I can do. I'm in a period of waiting. waiting both for God and for whatever the circumstances and unravel. But my soul, that core of me, my heart, doesn't get that yet. It's still begging for that answer. It wants to know now. It doesn't get patience. It doesn't get waiting. It's not cool and relaxed like my rationale side is, like my mind is. It's quick, calculating, that kind of thing. And it's frustrating because, I know but I don't know. It's such a pain. But I'm really finding, like, at the core of it a lot of times is this impatience. This desire for answers and being unsatisfied with the little that's been given. People who claim, and I'm starting to learn this about myself, sometimes I'll claim, like, God hasn't given me an answer yet. Well, sorry, that's wrong. That's a form of an answer. Him not saying anything. And odds are something in your life has given you some sort of guidance or steering from it. I think you'd be hard pressed to find a situation where you could be honest with yourself in saying that God has given me no answer or no direction towards something. Nothing. Even in times of my most confusion, where I didn't even know where I was going to live, I didn't have a job, I didn't have school, I didn't have anything, I didn't know what was happening, I didn't have a car, there was still direction there. If I was being honest with myself, amidst all that confusion, there was still direction. But there's a part of me, at least, that isn't discontent with direction, in the sense of, like, just a little bit of direction, like just a step forward, something that just pushes you a direction. And there's a lot of things in life that'll push you a direction you don't even know what direction that is. And part of me loves that, depending on what aspect of my life it is. Part of me loves that, but part of me despises it because it doesn't give me a definitive answer. And I like definitive answers. But God is not a God of definitive answers. Even when he says yea or nay in the Old Testament, he does it with this much bigger plan and story that he is developing. When he, like, even just something simple, like in Egypt, when Moses goes and he keeps getting no from Pharaoh, like, it's not just no. He never simply just says no. There's either like a whole statement, or like an elaborate, like, narrative or a monologue, that he gives towards Pharaoh, where he's just like, towards Moses, in response to Moses asking if he'll let the Israelites go. And it's never simply just him saying no. Oftentimes it includes the phrase, God hardened his heart. And we see that in this development of him saying no and stuff, that's not just God showing his faithfulness to Israel, but you get this cool example of where this answer of no is actually God setting up to display his glory and his magnificence to Egypt and the rest of the world in his design for deliverance for the Israelites. So these little directions, like, Moses is sitting there, like, God's got a plan and everything, but he doesn't know exactly what it's going to look like. He doesn't know that they're, like, at least there's no point definitively in the text that we see where he knows there's going to be exactly a certain amount of plagues or something like that in a certain amount of time before they leave. He just knows God will let them go at some. God is in control, and God wants to rescue his people, and that's it. And yeah, that's like he must have been wondering what the crap, like not like angry with God or anything. I wouldn't necessarily assume that of Moses, but it's just like just wondering like why, like why am I, why what is it, 9 or 10 times does Pharaoh deny Moses? Like why in the instance where why in the instance where Pharaoh says you can go and then chases him? Like, he's got to be wondering why. Like, why is Pharaoh so blind? Like, all these things. And, yeah, it's just an example, but I've just been thinking a lot about that lately. That patience and desire for control, and how desire for control leads to impatience, and my desire for a more thorough understanding of God's plan for my life can affect my ability to execute in the now and in the current step of, or stage of that plan. And yeah, that challenges me, because I'm like, well, I don't want to mess up that plan. Like, I know that's best for me. I know it here and here that it's best for me. As vague and as gray as it is in nature. But yeah, that challenges me to really think about and start trying to get it at a core level where I already have it at a knowledge level. Start figuring out and praying to God for that transfer, and just praying about it regularly, and getting in the Word with it, and worshiping in it, and hoping that somehow that'll click for me. And if you're going through the same thing, I hope it clicks for you too. Well, I'm just realizing it's been 22 minutes of this, but I talk a lot and I have a lot of thoughts, so sorry. Alright, well, that's all for tonight. Hope you guys see the next video that I post, and I hope you enjoyed this one. See ya.